This is like a new experience. There's priests just hanging out right there. Good morning. I felt like I should imitate a real sermon on a Sunday. You know, the priest always comes up and the first thing he says is like, good morning. You know, so I thought, bring a little bit from home. So I have a quick question for y'all. Not everyone has to answer, but you okay over there, buddy? A little bit? Here's my question. How would you describe this group if you had to give one word? Think of qualities. Yes, Jake? We're fun? Okay, that's a good one. Okay, what other qualities would you give to this group? Don't be all shy. Loud? Okay, that's true. That's true. Dedicated? That's a good one. How do we interact with each other? You're talkative? Okay. So you can see we're pretty, I think you could boil that all down though. We're pretty welcoming, right? Like to have fun with each other. We've enjoyed being in community this week with us, right? All together this weekend, right? So keep that in mind. Next, this question you're not going to answer. Just think of it as like something to ponder real quick. What are the qualities you would give yourself? Now hold on to that. So the gospel lesson is the story we're going to be talking about today. We've gone through the Samaritan woman, the woman caught in adultery, and we've gone through the demon-possessed man. Now we're talking about a little tax collector. This doesn't seem like as grand of a story, right? It's just a tax collector. But I want to give you some context. They're in Jericho. At this time during the Roman Empire, for the whole region, Jericho, don't think of it like back in the Old Testament where, they just walk around Jericho and it falls and it breaks, and that's what we know of Jericho, right? But this point, because there's been thousands of years between here and then, Jericho is a hub of trade for the whole region. So for the Roman Empire, it's a big deal. Everyone comes through Jericho to go to Jerusalem, to go to Galilee, to go every which way. Go more into Asia Minor. That's what, off to the east. It was a big deal. And tax collectors, they took a tax every time goods were coming through. And they would tax the people. And back in those days, usually the Romans would make someone of the people that inhabit that region, they're the tax collectors. So Zacchaeus in this stance, he was a Jew. He was one of the people of the region. And, being a tax collector and the Romans, giving you so much power, you're the one that's taking money from people, automatically that makes you not liked, right? You don't like it when someone is taking money from you. Whether it's giving that money for that Starbucks coffee, you're like, I don't like you, but you're giving me nourishment. I don't like coffee, but, give an example there. Or, for us adults, paying taxes is not the most fun thing in the world. True story. Y'all will learn about that one later in life. But, so already, you do not like the tax collector. He's taking money from you. It's going to this faraway king that's thousands of miles away from you, that's oppressing you, that's taking away your rights, and you don't want to make any of his people mad. Now, on top of that, tax collectors back in the day would take a little extra for themselves. And Jericho, being a hub of trade, the chief tax collector was rolling in money, like a ridiculous amount of money, because there were so many people coming through. And he was also screwing over his own people when he collected taxes from them. So, right now, you can probably tell Zacchaeus is not everyone's favorite person in the world, So, what makes this story interesting at this time, who is in charge? The Romans. The Romans were, think of them being like the in crowd. They're the popular kids, however you want to put it. Being Roman meant you were higher than everyone else. Then the Jews were a lower class. They were basically slaves to Rome's wallet. That's how Rome made money, was off of their backs. And then even below that is the tax collector in society. Because even the Romans were like, the Roman soldiers didn't even like Zacchaeus. They didn't even like the tax collector, because they're like, you're a traitor to your own people. Why would we want to hang out with that person? You have no moral standards. You're probably going to stab me in the back. But something incredible happens here. So I'm just going to reread the gospel again. So this is Luke 19, starting with verse 1. He entered Jericho and was passing through, the he being Jesus, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector. Sometimes I hate it when the pages stick together. Collector, and was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was. But on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled. He has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. In all the stories we've been talking about how Jesus draws a crowd. So already there's all these people coming around Jesus. And I want you to imagine this, because I know you have all seen this in movies, when a crowd gathers and there's always that character trying to weave through and get to the front, but this crowd was so tight. A man of his stature, Zacchaeus, couldn't even get in. Like, usually the main character in a movie, he can get in there. He tries hard, gets into the front. So the only way he can is a sycamore tree is this very tall tree, and it kind of whips. He went up there so he could be above the crowd and actually see for once. And as Jesus walks by, he takes notice. If you know anything about the gospel and all the stories, you see all these stories of when someone's seeking after Jesus, he instantly takes notice. I think of the woman that just touched the hem of Jesus. She knew that just by her faith of touching his garments, that she would be healed. Or the centurion who had true faith in Jesus. He was a Gentile. He knew that he would heal. He just had to say so. So Zacchaeus, even though, our first impression as being a tax collector, he's a sinner, he's the outcast of society, but there's something about this Jesus guy that drew him in enough to wanting to climb up a tree. And I don't know if when you're smaller, it's harder to climb up trees, right? No, Jake? I've never been good at climbing trees, so that's probably a bad example for me to bring in. But, he had to get up there. And he had to stay up there. He probably had to balance himself. I mean, sycamore is a big tree, but it's not a good climbing tree like an oak or something like that. And he had to wait till Jesus saw him. And Jesus, Zacchaeus probably thought, this Jesus guy probably knows nothing about me, but I still want to see him. But the first thing that Jesus does is, hey, Zacchaeus, I see you. You know what? I'm coming to your house. And Zacchaeus is probably baffled. I am the lowest of the low. I mean, the only people that are probably lower than me is the lepers, but that's because they have a disease. But here's Jesus. He wants to hang out in my house. Yet I'm hated by everyone else around here. Why would he pick me? And you can see it by the reaction of the crowd. They grumble and moan because, they're already trying to find a reason to not like Jesus, the Pharisees. Because you imagine there's probably some Pharisees in the crowd trying to see who this Jesus is. And they're like, they want to hang out with that guy? Why? I imagine, we all have those peoples in our lives, in our life. Why would you hang out with that person? I mean, especially with you guys in school. I think of the classic example of the lunchroom. Some of you probably feel like outcasts in that lunchroom, but you're like, I'm not that bad that I hang out with that person. I at least have my own little group, so I'm not that bad. That's Zacchaeus. He's that one kid in the lunchroom that no one wants to sit with. Even the people that are outcast from, the sports groups, the jocks, the whatever is the current popular group at school these days. Things change all the time, right? So, but we're not as bad off that we need to sit with that guy. He's weird. Even though everyone else thinks I'm weird, he's even weirder. So I'm not even going to be next to him. That was Zacchaeus, if you want to think about it that way. But here, think of Jesus. Think of the most popular kid in your school. Everyone's around like, will he sit at my lunch table? Will he sit at mine? He walks straight to the person that's just sitting alone and sits there and say, I'm going to have lunch with you today. Tell me about yourself. I want to get to know you in an intimate way. Just imagine that. And with Jesus, he's pretty transformative. I think y'all have experienced that this weekend. Just having one dinner with Jesus. Zacchaeus, he's ready to give all of his belongings away. He's willing to, the people that he's skimmed off of, he's willing to give fourfold, 4 times what he took away from him. Because of this transformative power that's just radiating off Jesus. He's just ready to take that. He's just ready to do it. There's no questions. Think like, if you've read, Matthew, he's another tax collector. He wrote a gospel. Jesus, all he had to say, come with me. Let's go. Like, it was that transformative in Zacchaeus' life. It's just crazy. This man that's been corrupt all of his life. Someone that's a traitor to his people that is gladly taking from them. Even though they're the people that he probably was raised with before he became a tax collector. People that were in the synagogue with him, learning from a young age. But he's willing to betray them so easily. So it's pretty crazy. It's mind-boggling, especially to that crowd. Because that crowd is watching that house like, what's going down over there? This is just so baffling that he would want to hang out with that kid. You would be watching that table the whole time if the most popular kid in the school was with the most person that you did not want to be with. You'd be like, this is a sight to see. What is that? What is happening? Be bewildering. So, in Jesus, he says, today salvation has come to this house. He's basically saying in another way, your sins are forgiven, my brother. Come to me. I have seen your faith. And Jesus says, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and save the lost." This is what I have come for. I'm saying it like Jesus. I am coming to save those that feel outcast, people that feel like they're away from society, like last night with the man that had all the demons in him, to the Samaritan woman that just slept around, to the woman that was caught in adultery. I have come to save you. You know what's the crazy part in all this? It doesn't matter what severity you're in with your sin, you're still lost. You're still counted when he says, "I have come to seek and save the lost." You're that lost. No matter if you've sinned once or you've sinned 1,000 times. You're who he has come to seek. You know that quality I said most of the time, I guarantee majority of you in your room, we're thinking of qualities that we're self-deprecating. Meaning, you're thinking of all the bad qualities in your life. Well, you may think those are bad qualities, but Jesus is like, "But I've come to find you. I've come to sit with you at your table. I've come to be with you." So this weekend we have found this transformative, power of Jesus. That's what this weekend has been oriented around, on top of breaking cultural norms that Jesus did. Because the go forth message is, now that you've felt the transformative power of Jesus, it's now to go forth. Emulate the man that has found you. Emulate the shepherd that has run out to grab you as a sheep and bring him to the fold. It's now time to be like Jesus. Be like Jesus as he was to Zacchaeus. As you see people that are on the fringes. Even if you're on the fringe, there's always people that are even more on the fringe. They need the love and the power of Jesus. Think of the homeless man you see on the corner that you're in the car and you just want to look away because I don't want to accept that. Or the lunch table. There's so many, or someone in your own youth group that's kind of just there and kind of staying out of the way. Because we all have that one person that doesn't want to engage or doesn't know how to be there. It's our opportunity to break the cultural norms and be like Jesus, just putting out that hand. So I leave this question to you. Who is the Zacchaeus in your life? Who is that person that needs love, that needs acceptance, that needs a friend more than ever? That person that you wouldn't think in a million years that you'd be sitting at the same table with. That person that maybe that's a traitor. Because it could be someone that you need to reconcile with because they are lost. That's the challenge. You have felt the transformative power of Jesus. Now go forth and be like him. Because it wasn't just all peace and love. It wasn't hippie Jesus. It was doing something that people were astonished that you did it. And that's simply sitting at the lunch table of that person over there that's all alone. Something as simple as that. Something as simple as stopping the car so you can talk to this homeless man that's probably not had a genuine conversation with anyone in weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Treating him like a real human being than a piece of trash that's on the side of the road. There's so many different ways that we can find our own Zacchaeus. And so many ways that we can radiate his love, his grace. So as you go out this week, as you leave here, be pondering that. Because I know you are all going back to school on Monday. Your school is a great mission field, even if you realize it or not. There are people that are so broken, and they need the transformative power that you have received this weekend. And it doesn't have to be something grand. All it has to be is a start of a conversation. Something so simple. Hi, I'm Jake. You want to come sit with me at lunch? So what are you interested in? You're just trying to get to know someone. It's not as you don't have to be like, you need Jesus, take it. It's simply having a meal, having a conversation, and talking. Maybe you wear this shirt. That's a great talking point. I went to this youth retreat this weekend. What's a youth retreat? Well, it's this place where a bunch of us that were, from a bunch of different churches, and we did all these different things. So there's so many different little things, little gateways. So that's why I want you to ponder on your drive home, ponder the rest of the night, because the mission field is ripe tomorrow. You'll be surprised at how you can touch someone's heart. Just be a vehicle for Jesus, because he'll do all the work. Amen.